All right, and welcome back. Today we are discussing Lesson 4, Comparing Whole Numbers. Please make sure that you have your lesson or math composition notebook out and have written down Lesson 4, Comparing Whole Numbers, and that you're taking notes for today. Let's go ahead and move straight in. Today we're going to be talking about comparison symbols, and you probably have seen these since second or third grade, and when you first learned about them, one of the ways that at least I learned was we would talk about the alligator opens his mouth to the biggest number. And that's really what we see when we look at the alligator's mouth here. But sometimes, and now that we're in fifth grade, you're going to be asked with words to actually write like 4 is greater than 3, and they want you to use digits in the comparison symbol to do it. You're going to need to understand that when we read comparison symbols, just like when we read text, we read it greater than from left to right. Well, with this symbol here, if I read it from left to right, I'm going to notice that this opening right here is much larger than this end here. This is greater than. Same goes for less than. If I read it from left to right, I'll notice that this point here is less than this bigger opening here, less than. And we have equal to, which will represent with an equal sign. Go ahead, I would make notes on this information here, as I'm sure it's going to come in handy. Pause the video, take your notes, and now we're going to move on. Here we go. In this problem, we are asked to write 564, 645, and 465 in order from least to greatest. And when we're given problems like this, and I do want to point out that I don't want you to think that this is 564,645. We know that these are actually 3 different terms. And so what I want to do, when I put them in order from least to greatest, the one thing I want you to focus on is the first digit in each of the numbers. Well, let's look at this digit here. That's a 5, a 6, and a 4. Now, this one's actually pretty easy. Just by looking at these, I can tell which of these digits is the least, and that's the 4. So we're going to start out with 465. The next biggest digit or least digit between 6 and 5 is going to be 564. And of course, the last digit, the largest, is going to be 645. That was pretty simple. I think you can handle that. This next problem here says complete each comparison by using the correct comparison symbol. And remember, the comparison symbol are the symbols we've learned to read from left to right. Less than, that's greater than, that's equal to. So 43 compares to 34. Well, I can just look at the first digit and easily see that 43 is greater than 34. And here's my alligator. He's actually taking a chomp out of the biggest number. Let's go ahead and try another one here. I want to have you guys go ahead and pause the video, and I'd like you to complete this comparison using the correct comparison symbol. Go ahead and write this down in your composition notebook before I work it out. Now, previously I showed you that when we're comparing numbers, we can look at the first digit in each number. And when I do that here, I have a 1 here and a 1 here. Does that help me out at all? It doesn't. They're the same. So let's go ahead and look at the next digit. I have a 1 here and I have a 2 here. Well, which number is greater, a 1 or a 2? Well, we know the 2 is, so I know that 112 is less than 121. Is that what you got? I hope so. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Complete each comparison by using the correct comparison symbol. Go ahead and work this one out. I think this one's going to be a breeze. I look at my 9 here and my 9 here. That doesn't help. I have a 0 here and a 0 here. That doesn't help. But hey, I have a third 0. This is 900. This is 90. 900 is definitely greater than 90. All right. Next question here. I think this might be the easiest one of the day. I don't know a 5th grader who's going to look at this and compare 80 to 80 and not understand that we are going to be using the equal sign because 80 is equal to 80. All right, here are the types of problems that I said that you're actually going to be given words that are just going to describe a comparison problem, and this is where we have to know how to read our comparison symbols. We read them from left to right, just like we do text. In this problem here, I have 25 is greater than 5. Well, I just need to take this 25 and I need to use that number written in digits. So I'm going to have a 2 and a 5. Is greater than, well, reading left to right, I know that the bigger end goes on the left. 25 is greater than 5. And how about this last problem right here? Write each comparison using digits. 13 is less than 30. Go ahead and work this out, and then I'm going to solve it. Press pause if you need to. All right, 13. Well, I can write 13. That's a 1 and a 3. Is less than 30. Well, reading from left to right, I want my smallest point of my comparison to be on the left because that's less than. 13 is less than 30. And when I do that, which side is the alligator taking a bite out of? Well, he's taking a bite out of the 30 because that's much bigger. All right, good job. Which comparison, or write each comparison using digits and a comparison symbol. Go ahead and try this. I think this one's going to be pretty easy for us. I have 60 is equal to 60. Well, I know how to write 60, and I'm sure you do too. 60 is equal to 60. All right. Oh boy, here's another one of those table problems that tend to give us some problems, but we're going to go ahead and work this out together. But before I work this out, there's a keyword that you are going to have to know to answer one of your homework problems. Because I ask you, what keyword did I use in this video? And I'm doing this because I have enough students who are not watching the video and just jumping straight into the lesson. And I think that their scores are reflecting that they're doing that. So the keyword for your quiz, when I ask for it, is iPhone. The keyword is iPhone. All right, here we are with the table problem. It says, write a rule that describes how to find the number of ladybugs for any number of legs. Well, what am I having to find? I have to find the number of ladybugs for any number of legs. When I look at my table here, I have the number of ladybugs, and I see them going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have my number of legs 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Well, I have to find the number of ladybugs, so I'm going to go ahead and put a circle around this just so I know that's what I'm working to. Finding the number of ladybugs for any given number of legs. So I'm going to be moving up from the number of legs to the number of ladybugs. So I'm going to go ahead and write my arrows here just so we can visually see what are we doing to the number of legs to get to the number of ladybugs. And if I look at this, I'm going from a 4 to a 1 and an 8 to a 2 a 12 to a 3. Well, what can I do? To get from 4 to 1, I could subtract 3, because 4 minus 3 is 1. Well, what happens when I subtract 3 from 8? Do I end up at 2? I don't. That would put me at 5. So the rule subtract 3 or down 3 is not going to work here. Well, what am I doing? Well, I can get to a 4, from a 4 to a 1 by dividing. I'm using division here. What is 4 divided by 4? Well, that's 1. What is 8 divided by 4? That is 2. It looks like my rule's holding true. I want to move down here. What's 20 divided by 4? Well, that's 5. So my rule is divide by 4. I'm going to be able to take this rule and we're going to be able to work out the next problem that we have. And I can tell you, you're going to have some problems like these on your quiz today. So make sure we're paying attention. How many ladybugs are represented by 36 legs? Well, again, I have to find how many ladybugs. So I'm going to circle it so I know which way I'm going. Again, I'm going up. And I know I'm dividing by 4 to get from the number of legs to the number of ladybugs. If I'm dividing by 4, one way that I can do this is I can just use my rule, take the number of legs and divide it by 4. Well, if I have 36 legs and I divide that by 4, what am I going to get? Well, reading it from left to right, it's 36 divided by 4. But when I read it from right to left, it's saying what times 4 equals 36. That's how I can solve this. Well, I know that 9 times 4 equals 36. So my answer would be 9 ladybugs. Another way I can do it is I can actually look at this chart here, and I'm going to extend this chart out a little bit. All right, let me go ahead and extend it out so I can write some more numbers here. And the top row, I can see that it's going up by 1. So after 6, I would have 7. I'll go ahead and put in another one here. I'll have 8 here. And let's throw in the 9, because that's what I think my answer is going to be. All right, now look at the bottom row. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. I am counting up by 4. So 24 plus 4, well, that'd be 28. And 28 plus 4, that's going to be 32. And 32 plus 4, well, that's going to be 36. 36 legs and 9 ladybugs. It looks like my answer is correct. And that's it, folks. I did not put my "That's All, Folks" slide in here today, but we are done with that lesson, lesson 4. Go ahead and make sure that you check your notes. You can use your notes that you've taken on your quiz that you're going to take, and make sure that you guys answer the questions. Use digits. Do not label your answers. The only labels we'll ever have right now are going to be $signs and decimals. So use digits only. Make sure that you remember that keyword. The keyword was given earlier in the presentation. So find that keyword, remember it, and enter that into the test as well. Any questions? Please pause, rewind, and make sure that you understand this. Thanks, guys.